All right, everybody, welcome back. I am Sandy, and this is the People's Congregation of Shakers and Movers YouTube channel, and we're live on Facebook, take 2. So I think I was attempting to let you all know that the People's Congregation of Shakers and Movers is a healing tribe of high vibe people who come together every week to enjoy things like astrology, breathwork, and yoga, because we felt deeply during the last few years that everybody was very disconnected and in search of trying some new things, right? Without walking into a level 2 or level 3 yoga class and being intimidated. So we really wanted to make these healing modalities fun and accessible to all, which is why we're streaming our content live so that people can take a pause with us every week. So we do like to call this our midweek reset. I'd like to give a shout out to Nate Dogg once again for being so awesome and patient and really focusing in on his camera duties today while he's home from school sick. So thanks, buddy. Anna, how are things over there at the People's Congregation today?
Pretty quiet. They're definitely pretty quiet. But, our practice has changed. We did go from chair yoga and, now have shifted to, still a gentle practice on the mat. But, like you just said, yoga can feel intimidating, walking into a class, you've never done it before. I think I teach a lot of chair yoga, and the reason I teach a lot of chair yoga is to make yoga accessible for everybody. Not everybody can access their bodies in the same way. If you have surgery, if you have an injury, an illness, a chronic illness, chronic pain, you're not going to be walking into a power class, and you still want to be able to access your body in some way. So yoga opens up that door. A beginner yoga or chair yoga or a gentle yoga is a way to begin to access the body in a different way. I'm a full supporter of using props, whether it's a chair, blocks, and don't be intimidated by a mat either. If you have a challenge accessing a mat, by all means, join us in a chair. Move your body the way it feels safe to move for you in a chair. And yeah, we have lots of chair yoga classes on our YouTube channel. So if you've never done yoga before, check out those classes. Develop your own practice. And when we do meet like this, and I'm not practicing on a chair, you can definitely join us in a chair, and you won't feel like you're out of place or anything like that, because you'll have your own practice. That's what the beauty of this is that coming here every week, we begin to do this on a weekly basis. But the truth of it is, if we really, really want to feel better, it's important for us to move our bodies more than once a week. So if you're able to do this practice on your own, I highly encourage it, or take this as an intro, but don't be afraid to walk into a beginner class or a gentle yoga class. There are teachers there that will guide you, meet you where you are, just as I am here to meet you guys where you are. Even if I can't see you, I'll be able to cue you. So Sandy, thank you for having me. I love coming here every Wednesday. This is my little sanctuary. This grounds me, and why I love to ground all of us midweek, because, we start to feel things fluctuate. The energy's fluctuating. We come down from a weekend and into a work week, and shit happens. Excuse my language. Things happen, and in order for us to recenter ourselves, this is a beautiful way to do that. So, Sandy, you mentioned you weren't feeling that great in your body today.
Well, I think what I did was a class yesterday that had a ton of spinal twists. And I think, sometimes when you're in a hotter room, it's a little bit easy to overstretch, right? Because you just kind of get so loose, So I did kind of like a little bit overstretch my side. So I'm just going to be aware of that when I practice today, and be a little bit more gentle on myself when I do those twists. But speaking of being gentle, I know this Friday you are going to be leading our Friday night integrated recovery practice group with your yoga nidra offering again, which was a huge, huge hit. I think we did say we're going to limit that class to 12 people. If we all of a sudden fill up, we can look into maybe moving into a new space. But I think for us to all be comfortable, like that was a good amount of people. So do RSVP, pcsam.org, go under the events calendar, and you can RSVP to Soul Saturday as well. This weekend is going to be my husband. I was hoping maybe he was going to be able to sneak down and do a little bit of a plug for what he has going on, but I know it's going to involve rock and roll and punk rock. This week. So a little bit of a change from the EDM and the reggae and the hip hop and the usual kind of dance music, but that's okay because some people like to dance to punk rock. It's just maybe not me, but it's not my church. It's all of our church, right? So so come down and check out Honest Friday Night offering at 7 p.m. I'll probably get rolling around 7:30. We like to give people that half hour to roll in because we know Fridays are kind of crazy. And we really want these Friday nights to be social. It's a networking opportunity. It's a great time to meet some of the other members of the church and kind of just see what we're all about. It's an alcohol-free night to honor our friends in the recovery community. And as always, Friday nights are free for the community. We do accept donations for our charity of the season, and we are still raising money for the family of our late dear friend Shua, who had 4 children that she left behind. So we still have our donation bucket out for that, but we have raised over $1,000. So I do thank everybody that has been contributing because every little bit adds up. So thanks again for that. So Anna, we're going to do like about a 40-minute practice maybe now at this point because we had some technical issues, but that's probably plenty for my body.
Yeah, let me touch on 2 things. Let me touch on 2 things that you talked about really quick. One is attending a hot yoga class or a warm class where you have access to deeper stretches. Great example. I used to practice Bikram yoga, hot yoga. That was the beginning of my practice. And as a beginner and not really knowing anything about yoga, because yoga came to meet me. I had no idea what yoga was. And I walked into a hot yoga room. And as a beginner, and I was much younger, but you want to push yourself, or even not as a beginner, as a practitioner, sometimes when we feel the heat, we feel a little bit more limber. But the truth of it is, even though we can stretch deeply, we still have to be even more careful with our bodies in a hot room or just in a heated space. Because my example was I was doing, I did something to my hamstrings that I had no idea I had done. And until I was in a dressing room trying on some clothes where you have the rounded mirror, I noticed I had bruised my hamstrings from the top of the thigh all the way down towards the knees. And so black and blue marks on the backs of my thighs because I had overstretched in a hot room, and you don't feel it. You won't feel it until you go back and stretch. And I had to start from scratch again because I had bruised my hamstrings and they didn't want to stretch like I thought they had wanted to stretch. So lesson learned, to just be gentle with yourself, practice with compassion. You know, if something doesn't feel comfortable or you feel that something, you know, just might not feel good, follow your intuition, follow your body. Your body will know. But that's why sometimes heat can be a little, can set that off because you don't know in a heated room because you feel so nice and limber. And then on the second touch that you touched on was my Yoga Nidra class on Friday at our Recovery Friday program, is that Yoga Nidra means yoga sleep, yogic sleep. So it's a wonderful guided meditation. You're all welcome to come, bring a blanket, a pillow, whatever you feel comfortable with, and a mat. You're going to be going into a state of in between sleep and awake, which is a wonderful way to access our natural internal healing body. So I'm excited about Friday. I love Yoga Nidra. I think it's definitely something that is needed and we need to do it more often. So that's why I love offering it. So thank you for having me. And yeah, we'll begin to practice right now. All right, so let's come to a nice seated position. I have a blanket underneath me. And again, if you have, a chair yoga practice, by all means, sitting up nice and tall in your chair, just accessing your mat, whichever feels good to you. Coming to a place of stillness. So inviting you to close your eyes or soften your gaze at the tip of your nose. And let's begin to focus on our breath. our breath in and out the nose, and beginning to deepen the breath by filling the belly and feeling that breath draw all the way down to the base of the spine as you soften the shoulders, and slowing down the exhale. And as you exhale, feeling the belly fall, chest fall. Inhaling nice and deep, filling the belly. Exhaling slowly through the nose. Hands can be palms down to ground, just slightly resting on your lap. Or you can place your hands up to receive, palms up, if you're in that place, or always invited into a Gyan Mudra with the index fingers and thumbs touching as we work on our intuition with this mudra, cultivate our intuition, and begin to settle into our bodies. So that internal gaze, maybe noticing the colors behind the lids and taking that breath deeper. Drawing that breath towards the base of the spine. And as you exhale, visualize that breath traveling up the spine through the crown, connecting you to the heavens. Slightly tucking your chin, keeping it parallel to the floor. And feeling that groundedness as you draw that breath in. Feeling that connection to the heavens or your source as you exhale and reach the crown towards the sky. Your hands can stay where they are, or I invite you to place your hands in Anjala Mudra at the heart center, prayer hands. As we do in all my classes, I love setting intentions. And this is where I invite you to do that, because it is intention that drives our actions, and it is these intentions we carry through our practice and take with us into our daily lives. All taking a deep breath in together and a slow exhale out with the lips sealed. All swallowing at the back of our throats and fluttering our eyes open. Namaste, everyone, and welcome to Gentle Yoga. So let's come to tabletop. Let's stack our hips over our knees, keeping our knees about hip distance apart, and our shoulders over our wrists. Gaze at the top of the mat. And let's get into a cat-cow to warm up our spine. On the inhale, the belly's going to drop, the tail's going to tip up, and the gaze is going to rise. And then on the exhale, chin's going to move towards the chest. You're going to round the spine, tuck the tail. Inhale, drop the belly, take the gaze upwards. Exhale, chin moves towards the chest, tucking the tail, rounding the spine. Continue to sink the breath as you inhale and extend the spine. Exhaling as you round the spine. Inhaling as you extend. Exhaling as you draw the belly in. Really press into the mat as you breathe in and out, lifting the chest as you extend, and then really rounding in, pulling that navel in as you round the spine. But continue at your own pace, sinking the breath with the movement. And then let's come to center here. From here, let's bring the knees to the width of the mat, or if you want to keep the knees where they are, let's just all bring the hips back. So depending on what you want to feel, you can do a wide-legged child pose or a regular child's pose. Extend your arms forward, drop the hips towards the heels, and bring that third eye or the forehead towards the mat. Take a few moments here, drawing the breath into the belly, really feeling the belly drop as it expands, and then exhaling, feeling the belly deflate. I'm just going to peel a layer. If you want to take a shift of the hips from one side to the other, you can if that feels good. And if your hips are a little higher, meaning that your hips might be tight and it's a challenge to access and press the hips all the way to the heels, that's okay. Not everyone can press the heels. The hips can get really, really tight. So it's a process to loosen up the hips with this practice. So don't fret if you're high, that's okay. Just relax into the position as much as possible. And remember, if you have blocks, you can support the bottom with a block. So this is what it would look like to support the bottom, or you can stack a pillow or something like that, something soft to help support your hips. All right, let's walk the hands towards us. Bring the knees closer together, about hip distance if you separated them. And then from here, we're going to gently shift the hips forward and shift the hips back. As you shift forward and bring the shoulders forward, adjust your hands to come underneath the shoulders, just a little further up, so then you can lean a little bit more forward. Bring the hips back and then shift forward. From here, drop the hips, take the gaze upwards, and then gently transition those hips back towards the heels. Shift forward on the inhale. Gaze can be forward or up. Exhale, shift the hips back. So, believe it or not, if you think about what we're doing here, we are stretching the arms and the shoulders. And when we're coming forward and dropping the hips, we're stretching our spine, but we're also weight bearing on our arms. So notice what you feel in your body. Maybe here, take a little shift of the hips. And then let's draw a circle with the hips, come around and forward, going in one direction. So one thing that I didn't mention with the yoga, we do a little bit of gentle movement before I settle your bodies down for a little meditation. The meditation's about an hour, the movement is about a half hour. All right, let's come to center, bring your hands in, shoulders to stack over the wrists again. And from here, let's take a lift of that right leg, flex the foot. Extend that left arm out, pull the navel in. And breathe normally. Take a nice deep breath, and on the exhale, bring everything in. Inhale, extend that left leg out. Reach with your right arm forward. Palm can face in, flex the foot. And then let's bring everything back. Again, extend that right leg. Left arm extends forward. Pull the navel in. Steady here, and then let's bring it back. Extend that left leg out. Right arm reaches. And then let's bring everything back. All right, from here, let's take a peek over to the left ankle and then come back to center. Take a peek over to the right ankle and shift back and forth just like this. Taking a nice side stretch on each side. All right, let's curl the toes under and lift the hips up, come into a downward facing dog. This is the first downward facing dog, so let's walk the dog, lifting one heel after the other. Spread the fingers nice and wide. Gaze goes between the ankles. Gently press that index finger and thumb. Feel the shoulders spread over the top of your back. Inner elbows face each other. And then gently press the heart towards the thighs. Lift the heels, bend the knees, take a little hover, and let's walk our feet to meet our hands. Come to a forward fold. Let's inhale, hands on the shins, come to a flat back, making a beautiful shape here like an L. And then bring the shoulders away from the ears. So I never stay here very long, but I'm going to stay here just for a moment. Soften the knees as much as it feels good. And just know that you can have a deeper forward fold, but I'm lifting the heart up, keeping my hands on my shins because this is comfortable for me. All right, from here, let's root to rise. Gather the energy up. Take a nice deep inhale. Arms come up, palms touch, and palms will come to heart. All right. Inhale, arms rise. Look up at the palms. Let's reach back. And exhale, forward fold. Let's ragdoll here now. Lower the head. Loosen the neck. Maybe grab elbow to elbow if that's accessible. And take a little sway. Release the neck. Let the head feel heavy. Maybe taking a nod or a gentle shake of the head. Letting the arms dangle if that feels good. And then let's inhale, bring the hands to the shins. Come to a flat back, and then let's plant the palms. Step back with both feet. Bring the knees down and shift the weight to the hands. Tuck the elbows close to the body. Come all the way down for a little half push-up and come all the way up. Let's lower down again and sweep up. Lift the body. Feet are flat. And then curl the toes under. Come back to your down dog. Take a nice deep breath in. Walk your feet to meet your hands and forward fold. Inhale, hands come onto the shins. And then let's root to rise, come all the way back up. Palms touch, palms come to heart. Inhale, arms come up again. Exhale, swan dive down. Forward fold. Inhale, hands on the shins. Now let's plant the palms, take the right foot back. Plant that right knee down. Shift the weight back, hips back. Shift the hips forward. A few rounds of breath. And then shift the hips back, going into a half split. Lift that left foot up, balancing that foot on the heel. Or flexing the foot. Notice as you flex, you can really feel it up towards, all the way up towards the hip. Then you can shift forward again to adjust if that feels good. Shift back, get into that space again. And then let's shift forward. Let's go into a lizard pose. Bring that left hand into the instep of the left foot, heel toe that left foot out to the outer edge of your mat. And from here, let's extend that back leg to get a little deeper into our lizard pose. And notice your back foot. Just take a peek back there to make sure it's not turning inward and aligning properly. Take a nice deep breath in. And you're welcome to stay here. Otherwise, You can gently begin to lower down using props here. If it supports your practice, you can bring a block to lift the floor up. Gently tilt that left foot out onto the outer edge if that feels good. Otherwise, you can keep the foot flat. Notice that as you begin to relax into this position, you can lower down a little bit lower. Last round of breath here. Gently bring the hands flat to the mat, lift yourself up and heel toe that foot back. Bring that left hand to the outside of the foot, bracket the foot. From here, let's inhale that right arm up, open up the chest, and then exhale, lower that side down. Inhale, bring that left arm up, open up to the other side, and then this time, draw that arm back. You can take that gaze to your hand and then gently lift that right leg up. You can reach for your foot or just stay here. Okay, bring that arm back, right leg goes flat, and from here, let's curl those toes under that right foot, bring that left foot back, come into a plank or a supported plank, pull the navel in whichever position you're in, and lower down. Halfway, gently push yourself up, come all the way down, sweep up. Ooh, I went a little fast there. And then we go back to our downward facing dog. Press the heart towards the heels. Take a breather here. All right. Lift the heels, bend the knees, take a nice hover. And then let's walk our feet to meet our hands at the top of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, hands on the shins, and up we rise, gathering the energy with a nice deep breath and exhaling it out as we come back to our prayer position. All right. Inhale, arms come back up. Exhale, bring it down to heart. Inhale, arms rise again. And let's sit in our chair. Chair pose, Utkatasana. Shift the weight to the heels, lift the chest. Tuck the tail, and maybe sit a little lower. Take a peek at your feet, just making sure that they're nice and pointing forward, not angling in any way. Sit a little lower, lift the chest, adjust the lower back because it has a tendency to pop up. Bring the hands together, bring them to heart, and forward fold. Inhale, hands on your shins, come to a flat back, and exhale, plant the palms, left foot steps back, lower that left knee, foot flat, and then begin to shift back and forth. Shift the hips back, shift the hips forward, shift the hips back, and forward with the breath. All right, so let's shift our hips back, go into that half splits. I don't like the sound of that half splits, but it is a half splits. I've never been able to do the splits, but that's never been my goal, and that's okay. So, but this is what it's called. And then notice if your foot's tilting, adjust your foot. You can tent your fingers, you can bring them to the mat, you can even lift yourself up. That's why I love props, to access this if it's too intense to drop down. I don't expect my students to do exactly the same thing. You know, coming from a practice that I've been doing for 12 years, I don't expect my beginner students to, I would expect them, so I hope you have your blocks, to stay nice and lifted, because with practice, then you will get here. All right, let's place the foot flat, shift forward, shift back, take a nice deep breath, shift forward again, exhale, shift back. Let's come back, stacking that right knee over the ankle. Bring that right hand to the instep and heel toe that right foot out to the edge of your mat. Let's extend that back leg if you want to access the hips a little bit more, and then take a peek just to make sure that that foot is aligned. All right, I'm going to tap my fingers. Inhale, lengthen through the crown, and then exhale, I'm going to come down. Again, one hip may feel tighter than the other. There's always a side that feels of the body that feels differently towards the other. So take your time, breathe, give yourself a smile, and then continue to focus on releasing the tension through your breath. I'm going to remove my blocks. I'm going to inhale to extend and exhale to lower down a little lower. Maybe tilt that foot, that right foot, to its outer edge if you haven't already. And my gaze is at the top of the mat. Breathing normally. All right, so I'm gonna ground my palms into the mat, heel toe my foot back in so the right hand comes to the outside. I can tap my fingers here to lift the chest, or I can take my blocks to lift myself a little higher. I'm gonna extend my right arm out, flip the palm, reach back, bend that left leg, reach for that foot. So just make sure that that bent knee isn't on the kneecap, or you can just stay right here, or you can just stay just like this. Inhale that arm back. Lower the leg. Let's curl the toes under of that left foot. Bring that right foot back, come into your plank, making sure that your hands are underneath your shoulders. Pull the navel in, press those heels back, tuck the elbows close to the body, and then let's lower all the way down. Let's come to a baby cobra. Hands underneath the shoulders. And let's roll the shoulders onto our hands. Notice how I'm pressing my shoulders one after the other, and that's because I want to see my fingertips just peek over my shoulders. Option here to keep the feet hip distance apart or bring them together. Chin on the mat. Tuck the elbows close to the body. Take a nice deep breath in. Press all 10 toes as you lift the chest. Don't tighten the glutes. Let them loose. That's why we press all 10 toes and then lower down. Relax the body. Take a peek over. Place the left cheek on the mat. Take a nice couple breaths here. And then come back to center. We're going to do it again. Inhale. Press all 10 toes. Gently lift the chest. And then lower down. Don't hold your breath. Right cheek to the mat. All right, let's come back to center. Let's lift ourselves up. Bring the hips back. Take a nice stretch here. And then from here, come back, lower down, curl the toes under. Lift your body up, come back to table, and then gently press yourself back up to downward facing dog. Take a nice deep breath. Release it out of the mouth. Let's do that again. Inhale. Release the exhale through the mouth. All right, one more time. And release it. And let's walk our feet to meet our hands. Come to a forward fold at the top of your mat. Inhale, hands on the shins. And then let's come all the way back up. Gather that energy with your breath. Press the palms together and hands come to heart. Inhale, hands come back up. Second set of chair, sit in your chair. Shift the weight to the heels. Lift the chest and tuck the tail. So you see that on screen in the front. Your tail has a tendency to pop. So you want to just bring it down, tuck it to create this beautiful angle. So reach through those fingertips, extend the elbows, sit a little lower. And it's going to pop back up, so I'm popping it back in. And then let's bring the hands together, bring the hands to heart, and forward fold. Inhale, hands on the shins. And then let's root to rise, come all the way back up. Palms touch, palms come to heart. All right. So let's do a little seated twist. Let's inhale, arms come up. And exhale, swan dive down. Forward fold. Inhale, hands on the shins here. And then we're going to lower our hips. Take the hands in prayer position and bring them to your heart. Lift the chest, but stay nice and low. Take a nice deep breath in. And let's take that elbow, that right elbow towards the left thigh. Now, you can just bring the elbow to the center body and then bring that left shoulder back, or you can take that twist further and hook it onto the outside of that left knee. If you do that, open up the chest, take that left shoulder back. You want to take it a little further? I know you do. Let's open up. So left arm rises towards the sky. Right arm reaches down. So no pressure here. You could stay right just where you were. Bring the hands back together. Come back to center and forward fold. Inhale, hands on the shins. And we're going to do that again on the other side. Let's lower the hips. Bring the hands together at the heart. Take a nice deep breath in and guide that left elbow to the right knee. Again, you can stay at the center or take that elbow and hook it to create a little resistance to the right knee. Inhale, open up that the chest by taking that right shoulder back. Breathe. Let's extend the arms if you want to take it there. Don't forget to breathe. Don't hold your breath. And then if you have extended, let's bring our hands back together, back to the heart center, come back to center, and forward fold. So notice my breath. The heart rate is rising. Inhale, hands on the shins. And then let's root to rise. Come all the way back up. Palms touch. Palms come to heart. Take a step back with that right foot, and then let's come into a warrior two position. Bend that front knee, and then let that heel align with the instep of that right foot. My hands are at the heart center. That's where they are comfortable right now, and we're going to inhale the arms up, extend that front leg, and then exhale, drop into warrior two. Gazes over the left fingertips. Let's go into a reverse warrior. Let's reach over that left ear. So arm can stay here on the leg, that right arm, or you can bring it back here or reach towards that top thigh. Take a nice deep breath. And then let's come back and settle back into our warrior two. Tuck the tail, pull the navel in, and let's do that again. Reach back with that left arm over the left ear, and then come back to warrior two. Inhale, reach back. Exhale, come back to your warrior two. From here, let's go into a triangle pose. Extend that front leg. Then we're going to reach, only hinging at the hips. Let that left palm face out and reach down towards your ankle, towards the inside. Reach up with that right arm. So again, you can bring that block in to help access that triangle. Really feel your anchor. So plug in that front big toe, back outer edge of that back foot so that back leg is nice and toned. Inhale, ground those feet in, lift the chest, come back to your warrior two. From here, let's windmill down. Hands come back to the mat or blocks. And then let's bring that front foot to meet the back. Let's tuck the elbows. Chest comes down. Let's sweep up. And then let's come back to our downward facing dog. Notice how your feet can shift at any time. So awareness to your alignment is important. Always take a peek. Let's walk our feet to meet our hands. Come to a forward fold. Inhale, hands on the shins. And let's root to rise. Come all the way back up. And we'll do the other side. Take a nice big step with that left foot. Parallel that back foot to the back mat. Bend that front knee. Inhale the arms up. Extend that front leg. And let's float down to warrior two, opposite side. Okay, so watch the knee here, that it's not over the ankle. So if I'm like this, I can't see my toes. You want to be able to see your toes peek out. So soften the shoulders. Take the gaze over the right fingertips. Really get into that back leg by really toning that thigh, that quad, pressing into the back outer edge of that back foot. And let's reach back for a reverse warrior. And then exhale it out, come back to your warrior two. Inhale, reach back. Exhale, warrior two. One more reach. And exhale, come back. Extend that front leg. Let's go into Trikonasana triangle. Reach with that right arm. Flip the palm. Reach down. Again, you can bring a block to ease the lift of the body. Reach up with that left arm. Bring it back. Open up the chest. And then ground those anchors in that front big toe, back outer edge of that back foot, and lift on the inhale. Come back to your warrior two. And then from here, let's windmill the arms back down. Bring that front foot to meet the back. And from here, let's bring the knees down, bring the hips back towards the heels. From here, you can take a little child's pose. And then begin to lift back up and come to seated. Notice your heart rate is up. Ooh, I broke a sweat. So you might have broken a sweat. If you didn't, that's okay too. Heart rate is up. And we're going to shift the hips to the left side and swing the legs around. All right. Bend the knees. We're going to get into a little boat pose. Reach forward with the arms, let the palms face each other, and take a lean back. As you lean back, you are noticing maybe the hip points. Your two pelvic hip points are grounding into the mat. So that I'm just taking the time here to really feel those points. And as I'm reaching back, I'm rolling onto those points, those back points. From here, the resistance of lifting and falling back, you're not really falling, but reaching back, we're going to begin to tap one foot at a time. So sometimes going into a full boat pose isn't comfortable for everyone. So it's okay to tap the feet. Tap the feet. See how that feels. You can leave the legs low, or you can begin to lift them as high as you feel comfortable. So a
Well, I'm unmuting myself because it looks like Anna froze. It's really weird. She's frozen in a boat pose.
So down we go. Head comes down last. Bring the knees in. Give the knees a nice hug. Tuck the chin. See how tight maybe you can wrap your arms around your knees. Keep the chin tucked, shoulders away from the ears. And let's do a full body stretch. Inhale. Extend the legs. Extend the arms. Reach. And then lower the arms by your side. Scooting down again. All right, so this time, let's windshield wiper the legs back and forth. So this also helps release the lower back. You can extend the arms here, and then let your knees fall over to the left side. That gaze, your right arm can extend to a T. I got the beautiful altar here. But your arms extended, gaze is over to the right fingertips. Maybe you can take that left ankle to the top of the right thigh to draw that twist a little bit closer to the earth. And then gently release the legs, come back, bending the knees, and windshield wiper again, back and forth. This time, letting the knees fall to the left side. Oh no, I just did that. Fall to the right side. Take that right ankle to the left thigh. Gazes over the left fingertips. You can even place the hand on your thigh. The natural gravity weight presses into the twist a little bit more. And then let's release. Knees are bent again. Bring the knees to the chest. Keep that right knee up. Extend the left leg out. Flex both feet. Give it a nice squeeze and guide that right knee to the right shoulder. Tuck the chin. Bring the knee back to center. Extend that right leg out. Left knee comes into the chest. Flex both feet. Keep the shoulders close to the mat. Tuck the chin. Guide that left knee to the left shoulder. And then release, bring it back to center. Inhale and extend the arms up above the head. Full body stretch. And then from here, let's reach for the outsides of our feet and come into happy baby, or you can just gently lift the legs up towards the sky. So up to you to take happy baby. If you need a little stretching, more stretching in the hips to open up the hips, or feet together, hands by your sides for kind of like just legs up the wall. Very stress relieving posture. Lower the legs all the way down. If you have them up, release happy baby. And then from here, let's windshield wiper the knees again, back and forth. Give a nice stretch again. Release the hands, arms over the head, and then gently bring your hands, your arms by your sides. Release the toes, let them loose. Let the toes fall open and come into your final resting pose, Shavasana. So in Shavasana, we're going to go into a relaxation. So you want to feel that earth support your body.
That, right? You go unplug that. Tighten that.
Palms are up, maybe tucking the shoulders inside and towards the body. Letting the collarbone widen, opening your arms up naturally a little bit more. closing your eyes and letting your eyes sink into their sockets. Letting your breath come back to its natural rhythm. And releasing any tension you might be feeling, you might be holding on and may not know, through the breath. So when we take the body into deep relaxation, that's where the healing begins. So that's why I always say this is the posture where we absorb all of the benefits of all the work we just did. Letting yourself go into this relaxation, because that's how the body absorbs. The body does not absorb through tight muscles and stress. Allow yourself to go into a deep relaxation with your breath. Relaxing the hips and the legs. Begin to bring awareness back. Wiggle the toes, wiggle the fingers. I'm going to roll over to my left side. And if it feels comfortable here to ground your eye, you can do that. Or you can just nestle your head onto your arm. And then when you're ready, gently pressing back up to seated. Meeting me with your hands at the heart center. Join me in bringing your prayer hands up to your third eye as a reminder to think kind thoughts. Down in front of our lips as a reminder to speak kind words. And back down in front of our hearts as a reminder to live life full of love, joy, respect, grace, and inner strength. From my heart to yours. Thank you so much for joining me today. Namaste, everyone.
Namaste, Anna.
Namaste. Have a wonderful rest of the week.
Thank you. You too, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you back here same time next week. Thanks again, Nate Dogg, for
Nothing.
Oh. Thank you to my wiggle worm, Nate Dogg, for holding it down over there. Nate, don't stop playing it, baby. I love you. Okay, so pcsam.org to sign up for our newsletter. And yeah, we're over and out.